thinking and having two point guard ball handlers on the floor at the same time?
Yeah, I think it'll be really good. For us to be able to get C off the ball a little bit more, in certain situations, and playing on the floor with Ari gives her that opportunity to do that.
Guys, hello, welcome or welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am Geneva. This is Geneva in General. Currently, I still am kind of in and out. I'm watching the Las Vegas Aces take on and defeat the Washington Mystics. We just entered our third quarter. The Las Vegas Aces is actually destroying the Mystics, but I ain't gonna lie. It's something about that freaking camera. When we see home games for the Washington Mystics, that camera is like just so it's bothersome. It's almost giving me a headache. It's almost like watching. It's almost as though they use the same cameras as like soap operas. You know how soap operas have like that weird like background look and stuff. Again, I just had to just step away from the game. But in other news, guys, I wanted to talk about this. I was going to let this story die down, but it seems as though, it's a concern, okay? A lot of people are criticizing not only just Caitlin Clark and the way that she performed, okay, the other day when it was her time to come back, okay? It was her first time coming back to the court after suffering a groin injury for like a week. She was out for like a week and some change, not being able to participate in any games. And upon her arrival, upon her return, we see the Indiana Fever get destroyed. They had a 19-point loss from the Golden State Valkyries at the Indiana Fever's home court. Now, during that game, and also on Caitlin Clark's return, she was still able to put up 10 points. But people have been dragging Stephanie White. Coach Stephanie White, she is the current head coach of the Indiana Fever. I had to literally, last night and today, I had to defend this woman on Twitter. People are like, she is the problem, and woo woo woo. Now they're saying that she's sabotaging Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever girls. That's the same complaint, the same accusations they put on Christy Sides, Coach Christy Sides last season. And I want to delve deep into this. Guys, please allow me to read to you a little bit of pieces of this article because I ain't gonna lie, it's kind of lengthy. Okay, from Sports Illustrated. Okay, it is titled Caitlin Clark and Stephanie White Can't Have Fever Friction Over Indiana's Offense. The article begins, the Indiana Fever struggled to score in Caitlin Clark's return to the lineup against the Golden State Valkyries, which on its own is no cause for concern considering Clark has been in and out of the lineup and it would be natural for the team to need an adjustment period to get acclimated. However, there is a season-long issue lingering underneath the surface that could be worth keeping an eye on, whether Clark and head coach Stephanie White see eye to eye about how often the Fever superstar should be off the ball. When discussing how the Fever could improve to that point early in the season, Clark stated plainly, I think we need to do a better job of getting me the ball in transition. Whether somebody is there or not, I think there's a fine balance of playing me off the ball and also getting the ball in my hands. That's when I'm the best, in transition. Everybody knows that. Shortly thereafter, I asked White how the team finds the balance Clark referenced. One thing the Fever coach emphasized was how Clark would be able to get open looks if she set great screens, something that obviously happens off ball. She added, Caitlin's the player that right now has the most talent around her that she's ever had. And now our job as coaches is how we figure out how to put us in the position to be the best team that we can be. Fast forward to the Valkyries game. Clark started alongside Kelsey Mitchell as usual against the Golden State Valkyries, but point guard, again guys, they just signed the newest and latest point guard, Ari McDonald. It says she was also inserted into the starting lineup. This was again an effort by the Fever coach to ease the burden on Clark. I like the ability to have two primary ball handlers on the floor, White said of the decision to insert another player at Clark's position in the starting group. And quite frankly, for Caitlin specifically, not having to have her play under duress 94 feet the entire time she's on the floor, she added, which again, I do agree with. Again, Stephanie White, again, guys, y'all are a bunch of, I don't want to call y'all, like y'all specifically, but a lot of people who are criticizing Stephanie White, or just anybody for real, okay, within reason, okay, because of course I criticize people, I criticize Angel Reese, I criticize the Chicago Sky, but a lot of y'all just sound like some freaking armchair athletes. It's like, how dare y'all call Stephanie White a terrible coach and she ain't this and she ain't that. She knows this game, guys. She used to play in the WNBA. She was number 22, hello, that was her jersey. Okay, when she played for the Indiana Fever, she played the WNBA, 6 seasons, and now she has been voted, I believe, more than once, coach of the year in the WNBA. So again, I understand that technique, that strategy she uses. She's like, you know what, I want to take some of the burden off of Caitlin Clark's shoulders. Let me also insert a second shooter, another point guard. Okay, that's very consistent and very good with the dribble. So we enter Ari McDonald. Clark was asked a similar question about the potential backcourt pairing at practice the day prior and parroted her coach about being picked up 94 feet all the time. Still, she didn't appear particularly enthused in her response and once again made sure to state, that's what I'm best at. So we're still going to do a lot of that. It's, I think, finding a balance. All of this, of course, makes sense basketball-wise. White is correct that Clark may be able to get freed for easier looks off the ball and that the Fever can become less predictable through varied methods of attack, while Clark is right that she is at her best when the ball is in her hands and she can go and make decisions on the fly. Again, it's not unusual for players to get into it with a coach. It's not unusual for coaches to get into it with the players, okay? It is what it is. Of course, it's going to be a little bit of friction here and there. Of course, people are, again, we're all different. We're raised different. They may not see eye to eye. Stephanie White and Caitlin Clark, that is. But again, overall, you can still see there's a lot of mutual respect, okay, that both of these women show for each other. Again, all in all, I'm going to summarize it like this. I understand Caitlin Clark's frustration. I understand the frustrations of the fans, the Indiana Fever fans, the Caitlin Clark fans. Because again, Twitter last night, yesterday, the day prior, and even today is still a mess. People are calling for Stephanie White's head. It's like, I'm sure this woman is getting yelled at behind the scenes because it's that and the third. The truth is, guys, I agree with that strategy. Let's insert another player, okay, a very high skilled point guard, i.e. Erin McDonald alongside Caitlin Clark to, relieve her of that burden. She also had Kelsey Mitchell, okay, alongside her. In that game, when the Indiana Fever got destroyed by the freaking Golden State Valkyries, again, Caitlin Clark only put up 10 points. But look at Lexi Hall. Sophie Cunningham put up like 2 points. Lexi Hall put up like, 4 points? So in the game the other day when it was Golden State Valkyries versus the Indiana Fever, Aaliyah Boston scored 6 points. Caitlin Clark had 10. Natasha Howard only had 4. Kelsey Mitchell had 12. Erin McDonald scored 7 points. Erin McDonald scored less than Caitlin Clark. And again, like Stephanie White said, she wants to place Erin McDonald alongside Caitlin Clark to alleviate that stress, alleviate the burden of her, constantly being on the floor for all 40 minutes. Lexi Hall only put up 5 points. Sophie Cunningham only put up 3 points. Like, what are we talking about? Again, Caitlin Clark, she kind of has somewhat of an excuse for why she kind of underperformed. I won't say performed poorly, but for her standards, okay, for Caitlin Clark's standards, 10 points. She underperformed, even though, again, like, she only played, she played 25 minutes, okay? She should have scored more, but they kept taking her out of the game because, again, she's still fresh off of that groin injury. But overall in that game, and, like, just any of the games, before we look at Stephanie White, because again, I know terrible coaches, okay? I'm a Chicago Sky fan. We got to deal with Tyler Marsh. I'm a Dallas Wings fan. We're dealing with Chris Koklanis. Stephanie White is not the problem, okay? The problem is inconsistency. In this game, we need to call out Lexi Hall, Sophie Cunningham. I even put Erin McDonald in there, along with Aaliyah Boston. Aaliyah Boston, what business do you have only scoring 6 points in 27 minutes? Again, overall, guys, I just wanted to make this video to kind of defend Stephanie White in a way. Again, like it's okay, it's normal, it's okay if they disagree. I'm sure maybe perhaps there is some friction between Stephanie White's coaching style and Caitlin Clark. Specifically as it pertains to them getting destroyed at their home court, the Indiana Fever, by the Golden State Valkyries. But again, in my opinion, okay, just look at her accolades. Stephanie White is an incredible coach. Before y'all look at Stephanie White in that latest game when they got destroyed by the Valkyries, look at the women on that court. Look at Sophie. Look at Aaliyah. Look at Lexi, Natasha Howard. They are the culprits.